right, let's talk about 3 tips to help you get approved through Navy Federal for a car loan. And why am I even doing this video? So the reason why is because back in the day, I used to buy cars and I would go and I would sit at the dealership. I would get my credit ran over and over and over again just to not even get approved, or maybe I didn't get approved for what I wanted, and it was frustrating. And I know to this day, I mean, this is like many 10, 15 years ago, what I'm talking about. But even to this day, people still have to go through that. So luckily, you don't have to sit at the car dealership all day long, getting your credit ran a bunch of different places. You have credit unions now like Navy Federal, which is my favorite one, that make it a lot easier to get approved for car loans now, and they don't have to run your credit one time. So that's why I'm making this video, especially if you got bad credit and you're trying to bounce back. Navy Federal, in my opinion, is almost like, hey, here's the second chance to still get approved for something. Sometimes regardless of things that have happened in your past, because Navy Federal is first a relationship bank. So I'm going to give you 3 tips to help you leverage that relationship and be able to get approved for car loans without having to sit and get your credit ran all day at the car dealership. So who am I? My name is Eric. I run this YouTube channel called the Credit Repair Hangout, and I have a credit repair business that I run and operate. And I just like to come on here, help people repair their credit, help people with helpful advice that they need to be able to get back on track. So that's exactly what this video is. So if you like info like that, hit the like, hit the subscribe so that you don't ever miss a video. And be sure to subscribe to my podcast as well, Credit Repair Hangout on Spotify and Apple. But enough of all that, let me give you what you came here for. So tip number 1 is going to be start doing everything you can with Navy Federal. And what do I mean by that? First, I said they are a relationship bank. So in order to leverage that relationship, you need to be doing things with them. So that can be getting a secured credit card. Rather than getting a secured credit card outside of Navy Federal, get one with Navy Federal, because Navy Federal has something that's called an internal credit score. You have your external credit scores like TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, but inside of Navy Federal, you also have an internal credit score, which is how they basically judge your relationship. What are you doing with them? Are you building a good relationship and good payment history and good payment habits with them? So doing everything with them helps you improve this internal credit score. So a secured card is just one thing. You can also do a pledge loan. You can also do other types of credit cards. Basically, anything that they offer that's a credit product that you might be thinking about getting outside of them, don't do it. Get it with them. That way you can get it, make payments on time. If it's a credit card, keep the utilization low, and then improve that internal credit score that you have with Navy Federal. Because many times, especially if you have a lot of bad credit, that you're trying to kind of overcome, like maybe some things that are still on your credit, some collections, late payments, things of that nature, and you just tried and couldn't get them off, you can leverage the internal relationship with Navy Federal and sometimes be able to get past that stuff a little bit. So definitely do every single thing you can, from secured cards, regular credit cards, the pledge loan, anything that you can do with them, do it with them. That way you're taking advantage of leveraging that internal credit score. So tip number 2 is going to be set up direct deposit with them. They love that. What that does is it makes Navy Federal's internal credit score also like you, because one factor of getting approved for things is going to be your income. So I have seen people get denied because Navy Federal, not because of their credit score, but because Navy Federal couldn't verify their income, because what they were saying just wasn't matching up. So if you have direct deposit, every single Friday, or, if you get paid 2 weeks, they can see how much money you make because it's going into your account. There's no guesswork. And they can see that you're stable. They can see that you're employed. They can see that you have income to be able to pay for the car that you're asking them for. So I've seen people have their direct deposit set up through another bank, but then they got a Navy Federal account, and you're not getting any kind of points or any kind of credit per se when you have your your direct deposit set up with a bank like Regions or Wells Fargo. Not taking any shots at them, but I'm just saying it's not beneficial. You're not really building anything with them. So get that switched over, get it over to Navy Federal. That way you can be, again, building more trust with them, building that internal credit score a lot more. And then whenever you go to apply for a car loan, you've been building your internal credit score. They can see how much money you make. You're making it that much easier to get approved for that car loan. So that's tip number 2. Set up your direct deposit from your employer to go directly to Navy Federal. Tip number 3, and this is going to be something that you need to do regardless of this video or not, and that's get your credit score up as high as you can. And in terms of this, try to get it at least to a 620, because I've seen people get approved less than a 620 through Navy Federal for a car loan. But if you get up to a 620, you just kind of give yourself that much more of a better chance to get approved, because your outside credit score still does play a factor. If you got all these payments that have been late recently, if you got a bunch of collections that are still on your credit report, charge-offs, if you got a bunch of stuff that just shows that you don't pay anybody on time, then yeah, I mean, Navy Federal might not want to take that chance too, that you're not going to pay them back. So go ahead and start cleaning up your credit. Try to get it to at least a 620 and beyond. And that's going to come with you just disputing things in your credit report and doing everything that you need to do to be able to get to that 620. That's going to start with your payment history, anything you've been late on, see if you can catch up on it, see if you can write some goodwill emails and letters to whoever you've been late with, seeing if they'll remove it. See if maybe you can dispute those late payments if the companies aren't willing to remove it. Dispute things like collection accounts that are on your credit report, dispute things like charge-offs, and you'll do this just by mailing in dispute letters to the bureaus. Focus on your credit card utilization. That's another big factor of your credit score. If you got credit cards, pay those balances down. If you don't have credit cards, go ahead and get some. That way you can be taking advantage of the points that you get in that category. Don't go applying for a million different things. I know I said do everything you can with Navy Federal at the beginning of this video, but a couple things is fine, but don't get every retail card that's out there, because when you do that and you apply for things, you keep getting new credit, you lower your age of credit. Your age of credit is another factor on your credit report. So if you're constantly getting new credit, you're constantly lowering the average age of your credit. So you don't want to do that. You want to get a few accounts and then just allow them to just grow and lengthen your average age of credit. Open things, don't close them. Don't be in a rush to just close every credit card that you've had for 10 years. Like, don't do that. And also, don't go applying for, everything either. Kind of plays into what I just talked about, because that is your credit inquiry category. You're graded on how many things you're applying for. So if you got 20 inquiries on your credit report that have been recent, that almost shows that you're kind of desperate, and you don't want that. So don't look desperate. Try not to apply for credit unless you do need it, or maybe you need to apply for a few things to build your credit. And then also your credit mix category. You want to have different types of credit. So you want to have a few credit cards. You want to have maybe a few installment type loans, maybe like a self-lender or a pledge loan, or if you already have a car note, or if you already have student loans, things like that you pay on monthly. The credit mix category, it just shows that you know how to manage different types of credit. A few credit cards that is revolving, that's a revolving type. Then you have your installment types, which are things that you pay on monthly. So those are the 5 categories to improve your credit score: payment history, credit card utilization, age of credit history, your credit mix, and then your credit inquiries. So focus on those 5, and then you'll be able to improve your current credit score to get it where you need to be to get approved for a car loan with Navy Federal. So that's the video. That's my 3 tips for you. Leverage that relationship with Navy Federal by, number 1, doing everything you can with Navy Federal to be able to build that internal credit score, setting up your direct deposit with Navy Federal. That way you are further strengthening that internal credit score. And then 3 is going to be improving your overall credit score, because at the end of the day, you need to have a good credit score. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you get a better car experience, this time around. If you've had a bad one in the past where maybe you've been at the car lot for an eternity and just to find out that you weren't getting approved. But now you can go to Navy Federal, they run your credit one time, boom, they approve you, they overnight that check, and then you go and buy whatever you want. So again, hope that helps. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be coming, as much as I can to make a new video for you guys. And thanks again for watching, and peace out.